Hello and welcome to WoW, the positive podcast, showing kids that there's a lot more to the world news than bad news. I'm Alastair, and as a journalist, I've often written about things going wrong. But people need to know too about what's going right, don't they? To know that we can change the world for the better. So I'm here this week with my podcast buddy Clarisse to talk about biodiversity. It's a big word. What does it mean? Well, stay tuned to find out. I hope the podcast gives you some ideas too, and maybe a bit of a boost. If you like it, do share it with a friend. Hello, Clarisse.
Hello, Alastair. What have you been doing this week?
I've been reading up about biodiversity. There's been a lot of talk about it in the news.
Ah, yes, I saw that. It was International Biodiversity Day. But the headlines were not good, I think.
That's right, Clarisse. Biodiversity just means the fact that there are lots and lots of different kinds of creature and plant and bug on planet Earth. Everything's related, and more of these things are at risk of disappearing.
Yes, I heard that. But I also heard there's been good news, that some species like whales are recovering.
Yeah, you're right. People have made big efforts to protect endangered species, and that's had a big effect in places. Whales are a good example. But actually, one of the problems we have when we think about biodiversity is that it's not just the big things we have to worry about. You don't get much bigger than whales. But also we have to worry about much smaller forms of life that maybe seem a bit boring or nasty to a lot of us. There are over 8,000 kinds of animal on Earth. And that might sound a lot to you, but if you count all the types, the species of living creature and plants, you get close to a couple of million. And it's losing some of these things, insects or even plants that we think of as weeds, that's also a problem. Everything's connected, like I said, so ultimately losing one species hurts another and so on, until eventually we ourselves could be in trouble.
So, you mean we have to care about every horrible insect?
Yeah, none of us like being bitten by insects, but somewhere that insect may be some other creature's lunch, or maybe it helps a plant to grow that people in turn need to eat.
Okay, I see. And losing biodiversity can really hurt people, you think?
Well, you remember when we talked about Jane Goodall, the famous scientist, and what she said about coronavirus, COVID-19? Well, it's a bit complicated to explain, but basically losing biodiversity seems to be one reason that more of these viruses are attacking us. Now, the upside of this big problem that we have right now with COVID is that it is making people realize that looking after nature isn't just about being nice to animals or whales for the sake of being nice. It's actually really important for our own lives.
Okay, I see. If species are disappearing, isn't it because of climate change? That's a huge problem. What can I do about it? Just me, on my own.
That's a great question, Clarisse. And yeah, you're right. One of the reasons why some kinds of plant or animal or bug are in danger is because of climate change. The places they live are changing and making life hard for them. But there's one thing that links all of these changes in climate and biodiversity together.
What's that, Alastair?
Us. It's us. All of our cars and machines have added to global warming and the way we feed ourselves by, for example, we just grow a few kinds of food and use lots of chemicals to kill the insects and weeds around them. All of that is reducing biodiversity.
Okay, this is a huge problem that just one little person like me can't fix.
Yeah, Clarisse, but the only thing we can really change, each of us, is our own choice. And if there's one thing that even the smallest of us can change, it's right in front of us, every day.
You mean like on our plates?
Exactly, Clarisse. You make a lot of effort yourself, don't you, to buy fresh, local food that's grown without chemicals and so on, don't you?
I do, yes. And, at first it was a bit of an effort, but now I've been buying healthy, local food for years. And I do it because it just tastes better.
So you see, saving the planet is just a bonus for you.
Yes. Organic farming works with nature, and the food doesn't come a long way in trucks. And again, it tastes better too. In fact, I'm going to cook something now.
What are you making?
Haha, chocolate cake with courgettes.
Really? That's a new one on me. And if you forgive me saying, it doesn't sound that tempting.
But this one is, Alastair. You see, courgettes are really good right now. They're just in season. And I put them in the cake instead of butter, so it's much lighter and healthier. You should try.
Okay, well, you've almost convinced me. I'll let you get off to the kitchen. See you next week. Now, you folk out there, how does eating local, eating organic, eating healthy sound to you? Check out our story and the video on our website, wow-news.eu, to find out how some school children have really switched on to helping the planet through eating well. Their schools in the town in France where they live get most of their food from the town's own farm. My fave fact from that story? The organic local lunches are not only tastier, they're not any more expensive than the old kind. Why? Because the schools and the children have worked out how to make just enough and no more. Do you know that a third of all the food in the world is wasted? A third! These school children have found a way to waste hardly any, and so that way they save money. It's a brilliant solution. Now, before we go, how do you fancy a quick quiz? Let's see if you've been listening, and we'll test your knowledge, or maybe your guesswork too. Okay, are you ready? So, 5 questions. Number 1, what does biodiversity mean? Is it a kind of university for robots? Does it mean all the variety of life on Earth? Or is it a game that people play underwater? Biodiversity. Biodiversity. Yep, you got it. It's life on Earth. Bio comes from the word for life in Greek. So, there you go. Biodiversity. Second question. Where does it hang out, this biodiversity? What kind of place do you generally find the most species all gathered together? Is it in a forest? Is it on a computer? Or is it in a car park? Think about it. Are you lost in the woods? Well, you're right. A forest is the right answer, especially jungly hot forests. That's why chopping down trees for wood or to make much bigger farms is really such a bad idea. Now, here's a number question. Number 3. Think of a spoonful of soil. Any old soil from a garden or a field. There it is in your spoon. Don't eat it now. How many different species of living organisms might you find in a typical spoonful? Remember, they can be so tiny that you can't see them. Is it more likely to be none, 10, 500, or 10,000? How many different kinds, not just how many bugs, but how many different kinds of bug are in there? Quickly now. Spoonful of soil, you're looking at it. Final answer? Well done if you said 10,000. In fact, good soil can have a lot more microbes in it. That's real biodiversity. It's what makes for healthy life. Okay, here's another. Number 4. We produce millions of tons of food in the world every day. But there's a lot of it that we never eat. How much do we waste? 10% of our food? More than half of our food? Or about a third? Tricky one. Think of all those plates. You've got it. Yep, it's about a third of everything that's grown never gets eaten. What a waste. Okay, final question. Number 5. Biodiversity is a problem that needs to be sorted out by A. Adults, B. Children, or C. Politicians. Whose problem is it? Who's got the solution? Who's got an answer? A, B, or C? Yep, you're right. It's all of them. Sorry, trick question. Yeah, we can all do our bit. That's good to know, right? So, How was it for you? What was your score? If you shout really loud, I might just hear you. How many did you get right out of 5? That's great. Well done, you. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And I hope you feel you've got a better grip on this thing called, what is it again? Yep, biodiversity. We'll be hearing a lot more about it. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this WoW News podcast, do tell your friends. You'll find lots more videos, podcasts, and information at our website, wow-news.eu. I've been Alastair, and I'll be back with Clarisse next week with more positive news, especially for kids. Until then, stay healthy and be positive.